Loading the app. And you go. Say, Anthony. There you go. Oh, there's a smile option. What's that? I don't know what that is. Come on. Oh, there you go. I can smile. I'll take a photo. It took a photo. Look at that. Let's delete that so that we don't embarrass ourselves with BMW Canada. I didn't smile.
Oh, it might have been me.
Was it you? I didn't smile at all. No, we'll do single photo. Stop smiling. We're back again for another comparison. Today we're pitting two of Germany's finest luxury sedans against each other. The brand new 2024 Mercedes E-Class and BMW's latest 5 Series. Think of this as a heavyweight boxing match where instead of fists, we've got the horsepower, tech, and a whole lot of things to compare. Let's start first with the exterior design. The Mercedes E-Class. Luxurious than ever. It has the lines, it has the presence, the grille is beautiful, the headlights as well. You'll not miss this thing on the roads. It's got the proper luxury lines. It's kind of like a supermodel dressed in a suit. And then we have the BMW 5 Series, which is sportier than ever. It finally got a gym membership. And then, of course, there's something that we cannot ignore, which is the grille. Having said that, the 5 Series does have a presence. Since we're talking about the 5 Series, one thing you need to know is that this is offered in different trims and different engines or different electric motors. So this is the i5, and there is a way to tell that. The badge, and of course no exhaust tips. Because the 5 Series, BMW decided to offer it in different trims, but the body remains very much the same. The rear end, I'm a bigger fan than the front end. Mercedes on the other side, they said, scrap that. We're not doing that. We're going to offer the E-Class specifically with a hybrid and an engine, which is what we have in here, the E450. And then the EQE sedan is going to be the fully electric model. The back side, well, you can tell that this is a petrol car because it has the exhaust tips at the bottom, which by the way are fake. The Germans continue with this, starting with the Audi. Having said that, I love the rear end of this. The taillights are perfect. The Mercedes Star, it's such a cool design. It's got that 3D effect. Big fan. And they match a little bit with the front end. Now here's where things get a little bit spicy. The Mercedes under the hood uses a 3-liter inline-6 turbocharged engine. It makes about 375 brake horsepower. But this one is the E450. You can also get the E350 with less horsepower, which in my opinion, you shouldn't, because this vehicle is large and heavy. That engine will be a little bit gutless. This will do 0-60 in about 4.7 seconds. It is equipped with a 4MATIC all-wheel drive. But if you wanted the EV, well, that looks different. It doesn't look anything like this on the outside or on the inside, and I have driven that. And then we have the BMW, which for this comparison, this is the fully electric model. But if you wanted, you can get the 530i, which has small engine, makes about 255 brake horsepower, or you can get the 540i, which makes about 375, pretty much the same as this. That's equipped, I believe, with a B58 engine, mild hybrid. This makes about 335 brake horsepower, 0-60 in about 5.2 seconds. Now, that's what BMW says. I think it's probably faster than that because it is electric. The disappointing part about this is the fact that they missed an opportunity here. Well, what you see in here is just the cover, and underneath that, there's a bunch of electronics. I think they should have offered a frunk because it would have given this more space and an advantage to the other Germans, because even the EQE doesn't actually have that. But looking at this right here, I think a frunk would have been perfect. Not too big, just enough. Now let's talk about cargo space, because that's very important. Because this is not an EV, means that you get more trunk space in comparison to the BMW. So let me show you. That took some time. First of all, you get some space underneath here because this one, again, it's not the electric version. You get a lot of cargo space, but also you get a lot of space inside. In fact, let me try and put all my stuff in here of that, and then we got the big boy. Look at that. And there's still more space in there. Now, moving on to the BMW. Because it is the EV version, you get less space on the side because they have the battery, the electric motor, so it takes a lot more space. The other model, which is not EV, like the 530 or the 540, gives you a bit more space. But overall, the Mercedes will give you more trunk space because it's larger at the back. But you do get some space underneath the cover. But in this case, I have to put this giant cable in here because you have to carry that everywhere you go in case if you need to charge the vehicle. Okay, let's jump into the second row. We'll start first with the Mercedes. First of all, space. I'm 6'2", lots of space, comfortable, headroom. It's pretty good. Initially, I thought that this would be tight for me, but it's pretty good. I like the seats. They have that clamshell design. Feels like luxurious inside. This color wouldn't be my choice. It's very tacky. In terms of tech features, well, first, we've got this sunshade on the side, which is manual. You have to pull it up and down. And then we've got heated seats in the back. There is 2 USB-C ports at the bottom. There's some space in here to slide your phone. And there is a split panoramic roof. So in the back, the passengers have their own sort of panoramic roof. It's small, but it's different compared to the front one, which is much larger. Now, things that I'm disappointed about, I wish there was a climate unit here that you can control for the rear side. There's no controls. Like the E-Class is a bit more upscale, more premium, close to the S-Class, not the C-Class. And I wish they could have done that with this. But you get a lot of space, which is great. Now, let's jump into the BMW. In the Beamer, first off, comfortable in here. This one has a large panoramic roof compared to the Mercedes, which is a split option. I mean, it comes down to preference. But one thing I noticed is jumping in here with this color is this feels more sportier rather than luxurious. It's still luxurious, but the design theme, it's about being a bit more sportier, just more daily kind of thing. Not as relaxing as in the back. Tech features, what do we got? 2 USB ports in here. There's no heated seats with this package, which I'm shocked. In the back, there's no sunshade in the back. You do get some space to slide your phone. There's 2 USB ports, and we've got 2 air vents that you can control, which is nice. And that's about it. Space-wise, it's about the same, roughly, about the same, but I feel a bit more comfortable in the Mercedes, but I have to add the fact that you get a little bit more headroom in the BMW. But that's about it. But I think I would enjoy being a passenger in Mercedes rather than here. When you jump inside the Mercedes, well, you're welcomed by large screens, super screens in this case, and it kind of feels like a high-tech lounge. That's the experience when you jump in. There's lights everywhere, a bit more like a nightclub as well. And then you got the passenger screen because, of course, the passengers need more screen besides their phone, or maybe they need it for a DJ, so someone can just play some nice music on that side. But that's the first thing you notice in here is there's like screens everywhere. This wasn't enough, the almost 15-inch in the center. They said, no, let's just put one more on the passenger side. Why not? And then they did the cluster as well. It's a different design, but it does have that premium feel and luxury at the same time. There's like the wood in the center, the glossy finish around it, the screens, the light, the interior, lots of tech features in this vehicle. So let's talk about some of the things that I like and I don't like. Even though it's an ICE engine, it's still very quiet when you start it, so you don't hear it as much. And here we are. First off, we've got the steering wheel. I'm not a big fan of this. This is not my favorite thing, especially the buttons, they're very close to each other. But having said that, it's got a nice cluster that you can change the settings on the cluster. You can change the view if you don't like that, the classic, navigation, assistant, service, and so on. I usually keep it in sports because I kind of like this design. And you can see a bit more than that. Lots of information that you can play around it. The steering wheel, it is powered, which is nice because you're paying that premium money. And then moving on to the ginormous screen in the center, which is full of tech and full of options. It's kind of like a tablet right in there, but with the user interface from Mercedes. There's also a browser in that case. With this package, of course, you get a 360 camera and self-parking mode, which is kind of standard now for luxury vehicles. You've got a lot of settings for your vehicle that you can control. It also has a camera inside, as you can see at the top, and it has a built-in dash camera, which is nice. So this is recording this way, and also the front has a different camera that you can essentially control. And I think dash cameras should be standard in all vehicles nowadays. The audio system in this case is Burmeister, which is standard for Mercedes because they work together. Great quality overall, built-in GPS. It's actually quite smart, and I find this to be better than most vehicles. It's very smart, and it shows you quite a lot of information, which is great. Built-in Apple CarPlay and so on. If we go into the menu for the climates, this is something you don't get with the BMW. We go into air quality. It has a fragrance in this case, and you can turn it off and turn it on. You've got 3 levels. So essentially what it does, it gives you a nice smell on the inside in case if you have a kid that just, well, code brown basically. And this is going to come in real handy. And ionization, which it's standard probably even for the Mercedes, for the BMW. Climate unit, you can control it and so on. Lots of features in there. And that's about it. Easy to use, not so hard, but there's no buttons. Start it up, the button is located in the center. And here you go. Because this is fully electric, of course, you don't hear much of the engine unless you get the 540i in this case. And here we are. This is very familiar to a lot of people right now because this kind of design is similar to other vehicles unless you've never driven or seen videos of this car. We've got the M steering wheel, which is nice and grippy. The badge in the center in blue, which is for the electric models and or the plug-in hybrids. Compared to the Mercedes, this one's got some buttons that are not all touch. You can control everything for the cruise control in here and in the center to control the infotainment display. The actual display itself for the cluster, the user interface changes based on the driving modes. You go into different driving modes and it will change that. You've got your relax, sport in this case, and you can activate that, and there you go. Now it's in sport mode. You go back into my modes and we're going to do personal. The infotainment, it is touch screen, but unlike the Mercedes, there is a control unit in the center that you can control the infotainment without having to touch it at all. And as you can see right in here, we can go back. BMW has had this for a while, which, to be absolutely honest, I kind of like that. Now, here's an interesting thing about the i5 is that it's got iconic sounds in this case. And here we go. You can essentially make the car feel like it's an ICE car. So you can hear a bit of the engine and you can change that. There's the drive off option, which also has a sound as well. And your driver assistant package and so on. We go back into the main menu. This is a different layout to Mercedes. The icons are a bit different. So they're smaller in this case, and there's a lot to go through, and they're all in one page. So I would consider this the Android of cars. Meanwhile, the Mercedes is the Apple of cars. It's kind of weird to combine them, but I think the user interface is very much like that. And tons of features in here, tons of things that you can go through. And also, if you're bored,
tap confirm.
And we can download games because nobody has done that. The climate units, we go back. You can control it from here. It's a different user interface compared to the Mercedes. And then we've got the exterior lighting. So all the features are kind of separate. So like the driving settings. It also has built-in GPS, built-in dash camera in this case. And it does have a camera at the top, like an interior camera. Loading the app. And here you go. Say, Anthony. There you go. Oh, there's a smile option. What's that? I don't know what that is. Come on. Oh, there you go. I can smile. I'll take a photo. It took a photo. Look at that. Let's delete that so that we don't embarrass ourselves with BMW Canada. I didn't smile.
Oh, it might have been me.
Was it you? Yeah, I didn't smile at all. Now we'll do single photo. Stop smiling. All right, so here I am in the BMW i5 eDrive 40. Let me tell you what it's like driving this thing. It's kind of like a spaceship with a BMW badge. It's silent, it's pure, has no engine noise, it's got a silent acceleration. Well, sort of silent because there's no engine, it's just pumped through the speakers. But the power is so instant in this thing that it kind of wins a little bit over the Mercedes, because even though it makes more horsepower, it's got a really nice power to it. Like, let me put it in sport mode, because that was just sport mode. Here you go, activate, bolster adjust, and then 10-second power boost. It's addicting. Now, because it is EV, most people would think that it wouldn't drive like a BMW, but in fact, it's one of those cases where this drives like a BMW with no engine. It handles like one, sharp handling. The steering wheel is super sharp. Even though it doesn't have an engine under the hood, in many ways, it kind of reminds you when you're driving it that it is a proper car. It's a BMW in and out. The power is so addicting on an EV all the time. There's no actual sound coming out of the back, but it's still very much a fast car. Even though it's powered by a bunch of batteries, this thing handles like a sports car, and it hugs the corners, is like a proper BMW around the corners. It's very planted because of that center power that this thing has, a center weight. The battery is right in the middle, so it handles like that. And what's even more important is the fact that it does feel very heavy compared to the Mercedes because of that battery and the actual electric motors and so on. We're talking about the engine quite a lot. The truth is, the 40i, it's not really that powerful. So if I had to put them head to head, I think the i5 would take it probably on a straight line. Maybe the B58 would be the one that you'd be enticed in buying because it is more sort of powerful, and also it's a B58. This is an epic engine. The 40 is the one that comes with the B58, but you don't actually hear it as much in a 5 Series. The different story when it's in a 340i, for example, M340i, because it's such a lighter car and it's super quick. This, on the other hand, it's a big elephant compared to the 3 Series. The Mercedes E-Class, compared to the BMW 5 Series, it's like a 5-star hotel on wheels. You slide into the driver's seats and the car screams at you, "Relax, I've got this, mate." But in case, if you really want to push it, you go into this little button over here into sport mode, and you can fire up that inline 6 that makes 375 brake horsepower, and that's it. But it doesn't shout about the horsepower, and it doesn't scream on the inside. You hear the engine, but it's just a little bit. It doesn't have the same instant torque. In fact, as you saw, it was a bit of a delay. But you can feel a bit more of that power, because even with the engine noise being a little bit low, you can still connect to that sound. It's actually pretty quick for the amount of horsepower and the weight that this has. 0 to 60 in about 4.6, 4.7 seconds. That is quite impressive. And this is not even an AMG. It's just a E450, just higher compared to the E350. Even though this has the 4MATIC system, it's not really a corner vehicle. This does not enjoy it as the same way. It's very soft on the ride. You feel comfortable inside. You just want to enjoy the drive. You don't want to be that constant driving, tailgating people and just going fast every corner. This is not. This is an enjoyable, a smooth ride that will take you far without any problem and without any back pain. The suspension, it soaks up every bump and wrinkle on the road. In some cases, you go over potholes without even realizing. That's how comfortable this thing is on the road. The next thing I wanted to find out is which one offers the best braking system. So I took both vehicles at the runway where we do our drag races to find out which one will brake faster at 120 kilometers an hour, 75 miles per hour. And of course, I invited two of my guys, Dave on the left and Marcelo on the right, to be the passengers in the back so they could give us the feedback of which one offers the best or most comfortable ride while stopping at about 120 kilometers an hour or 75 miles per hour. Let's do first the Mercedes.
Okay, you boys ready? So what are we going to do the Mercedes first? We'll do it 120 kilometers an hour. And then at the quarter mile, I'm going to hit the brakes. So seat belts on, okay? Seat belts on? Okay, we're safe. Let's just assume that we're going to crash into a BMW or something. Hey, we're going.
Could you repeat your input?
I'm not.
Goodness, this.
Okay, here we go. This is going to be interesting. 79, 80, come on. We can get to 120. I don't think we can. There we go. Okay, we got 120. And 120.
Yeah, not bad.
Wasn't bad at all.
At all.
Okay. Something flew off all the way down there. I don't know what it is. That was actually full pedal and it actually broke really nicely.
It wasn't bad, dude. 7 cities killed it wasn't that fast. Yeah, like.
Okay, well, we gotta walk back now. Okay, you guys ready? Into drive, let's see. 120 kilometers an hour. We can get this BMW to that. There we go.
It sounds like the train, like the Scarborough.
Okay, we're at 120. We're getting close to the quarter mile. And...
Yeah.
okay, I just went all... that was like skiing on ice. Wow. Me too.
We had like a lot of...
Okay, I think the Mercedes had a softer brake. Like maybe about 25%?
Yeah.
Dave?
Yeah.
I know you're going to buy a BMW soon, but keep that bias thing away from this video. I know you're buying a BMW, I get it, but it's okay. You can tell people the truth. Do you think... do you think the Mercedes was better?
Yes, much better.
Like, look, it's right there.
100%. 100%.
Look at that. And also, this feels more like harsh. Well, now we know.
Well, you need to brake, get a receipt.
Okay, now that we have covered everything from tech features, space, and of course the driving experience, which one is the best out of these two? Well, it kind of comes down to your preference, because some people might not like the design of this or the interior, and they might like the BMW. But for me, the Mercedes is slightly the better choice. Why? It looks better on the outside. I kind of like the interior, even though it has many screens. It feels more premium. The BMW, it is designed with a theme of sporty design, like sporty ride. It's always very stiff and go and go and go. The Mercedes is a bit more chill, and I think the people that are looking for these two vehicles are looking for vehicles that are a bit more relaxed. Otherwise, you'd go to an M5 or an E63 for that matter. The ride on the Mercedes, as you saw, is a lot softer. It's designed that way. In fact, I kind of consider it to be the baby S-Class in many ways, because it drives like a Mercedes S-Class, which is super nice and comfortable. Out of the two, for me, the Mercedes, not necessarily the better choice, but would be my choice. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.